Is steering really all that important? Really? So here it is, the current state of the Jeep. There's a lot more welding that I did on it. I did some sanding off of rust. I got these on, got the patches on. You know, it's looking rather Jeep-like. But there's one thing that stops this from being usable. Three things. Only 3 things, and some more things. First off, this kind of ends here. I want to get a patch in there. You can see kind of on both sides, this just ends. So I want to make like a channel like this, and then bend it to shape with the shrinker stretcher, kind of like this. Work in progress. I ran out of time. Life happened when I was mid that project. Then kind of bend them up, cut this flange off, weld them in, and all that. And I want to do that because, well, this is pretty close to the legs, and something about like jagged, rusty, exposed metal and child endangerment, those two kind of go together, and I'd rather have neither of those. You know, blood loss in children, frowned upon by the government for some reason. Second thing, I don't have a battery. Actually, I have acquired a lightly used free powerwheels battery, which I will be charging and hope it works. Otherwise, you know, other options will follow. And third, steering. Steering wheel, currently not attached to anything. And here, down here is, that's loud. Down here is the steering. I have this kind of welded up, put through the holes like I thought it would work. I'm really glad that worked. I was only like half expecting it to function. And this is how the steering works. This little thing gets turned, and it moves this back thing here, and then the wheels turn, except they don't. The way the steering works, this rod is held up here by a hole in the body, which is in there that you can't see, and a hole up here, which was actually in here, and then I cut it off and threw it in the dumpster months ago because of planning is good. And I have to figure out how to make that work. However, I ran into an issue. I don't know, because I never checked during any of the planning stages, if this rod, which has to be up, not down, someone told me if it's down, then the steering wheel will work backwards. That's probably bad for control, seeing as this person who's going to be driving this has no idea how cars work anyway. I don't know if that's going to interfere with the battery box, so we're going to find out, and then we're going to see if we can make it work, because this is only held here. Has to be held here and here. I got this up on the chair stand. Really glad I've been too lazy to permanently attach the chair to that. This has worked out great as a welding table. Come on. Yeah, okay, so it's going to go like there-ish. Oh, that's a bad sound. Alright, here's the problem. Oh, no, falling parts. Has to be about this far forward, and doesn't work. There's like this huge gap. Ugh. How am I going to fix that? Also, these seat belts, they're a little bit rotten. They just come right apart. Very safe. This fits pretty tightly on there, but it's not actually secured, so I gotta be a little more careful. Wow, there's a million spider webs down here. Ugh. Ew. Okay, from this angle you can see many things. See this hole, which is where the steering shaft goes through. You can see this, the piddly support that held the whole front end of the Jeep on. I was planning on putting like box tubing here, but I mean I grabbed this and just reefed a whole bunch and it barely moves. The original one had some flex between the front and the rear, so it would kind of twist and keep all 4 wheels on the ground. Steering shaft goes through. Kind of want this to line up with the front here, and that wouldn't be a problem. It just touches just a little bit. However, that's inverted. It needs to go like that. So, major not gonna fit. However, I have a plan. Now the point of this one is that the shaft will not be allowed to go side to side, but it can go up and down all at once, which is good because this actually isn't in the right place. There we go. There we go, like that. Yeah, we'll just pretend this is accurate enough for the grinding that I'm getting. Wow, it's really hard to mark over terrible welds. And I want the steering wheel to be as high as possible, which means I need to go like 3 inches up. Wow, that's a lot of cutting. Well, the good news is I'm going to cut off a bunch of my worst looking welds ever. So, hooray. Really glad I don't have a phobia of spiders or I'd have to burn this thing and start all over. You didn't see that. That didn't happen. Shh. And for those of you wondering how much this thing weighs, remember, I'm not a strong person, but I can toss this thing up and down. It is really quite surprisingly light. Like, it's not feather light, but this would be a good curling exercise. Curling Jeeps. Woo! Alright, well that's extra jaggedy. That didn't go quite as smooth as I had hoped it would. You know, this plastic tub weighs about as much as the metal part. I'm thinking the battery's gonna weigh about the same too. None of it'll be as heavy as 2 children. If you try to hold a small child for very long, you will suspect they are starting to increase mass exponentially to the point where you start wondering if they're made out of lead. And if jaggedy, rusty metal and children don't mix, imagine how well lead mixes. Please, please, please work. Oh, it's in the hole, people. Oh yeah, people, check it out. Check it out. It goes through. I also cut some extra space on the sides, more than I should have. But I think that's going to be a good thing because I'm going to need a way to like hold that bar from going left and right. And I'm thinking not steel on steel because this rod is steel and this is steel. If I put like rubber there, something, that'll kind of tighten it up without making it scrape, scrape, scrape every time they turn the wheel. Okay, here we go. That really doesn't fit one-handed. You know, idiot, you have a tripod. Alright, speaking of wheel, I have the wheel. See a problem? Problem is, kid's legs go right here. If I remove the wheel, this hole has to be cut out to raise the whole thing up. And then it'll probably have to be lengthened to put the steering wheel in like a child-friendly position. One that doesn't involve them cutting their legs off at the knee and steering with the stumps. Alright, since I am not removing this again, that wasn't fun. I'm going to go nuts with some power tools, see what happens. There, that's sufficiently jaggedy. There, thunk. Oh, this wasn't slid in all the way. Please don't be any more problems. Winter is coming and this kid wants to use this thing. Slightly better. Okay, with that rod pushed all the way through, I'm happy that it's this way almost enough, but it still needs to come up. Yeah, like 1.5 inches. Bummer, because that was perfect too. Like snapped into place and everything. There we go. I rather like that snapping action. Never has so much fiddling occurred to put a steering wheel on a toy. There, I like that steering wheel position. Better than I thought I would. If I raise it up any more, it's going to start impacting the dash here, which might be okay. In fact, it might have to. But I think it might work for now. Yeah, and I might have to make a lengthener. Although I'm thinking of just pitching this and coming up with a new steering wheel solution. Who knows? And now, for the real test. Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah. That's a problem. So the steering wheel comes off, and there's a lot of knocking, but it works. The steering works poorly. Boom. If I clamped all this together hard enough and stuck a battery in here, it would even work. I'm not going to do the steering adjustments today, though, because I need the kid to be awake and sitting there to fine-tune the telescoping tilt wheel, which I'm not going to install. You can see a lot of the body's kind of rusty, got a little bit of rust. We're going to take a brief walk over here. I got some of this like spray etch stuff, and it works. See? That was rusty, sprayed it, it's not rusty anymore, and now it's not rusting. So at least supposed to leave a coating or something. And I'm going to do that to get rid of some of the surface rust that's on the Jeep. And then probably have to wash all that off with acetone and then hit it with paint. So that's the plan there. The back hatch is going to be a separate piece. Grill is going to be a separate piece. Hood is going to be a separate piece. Bumper is going to be a separate piece. But what I want to do is get this part of the Jeep working and functional. It'll be a little bit Mad Max with the whole bare metal thing going on. But, you know, then the kid can play with it and I can fine tune everything and then work on making it pretty. It's not done, it's not attractive, it's not painted, but it's together. Sort of mission accomplished. I feel like this is a sort of milestone because everything is in place, all the pieces fit.